concerns that Latimer and other officials were abusing their position and profiting from the situation. The Commons impeached Latimer, and it demanded that he be tried before the House of Lords, who agreed to that trial. And a trial took place, and Latimer was found guilty, and as a consequence, lost his position at the court. Consequently, Parliament developed the impeachment as a means of exercising some measures of control over the king. An impeachment proceeding in England was a direct method of bringing into account the king's ministers and favorites, men who might have otherwise been out of reach. Impeachment, at least in its early history, has been called the most powerful weapon, the most powerful weapon in the political armory short of a civil war. It played a continuing role in the struggles between the king and parliament that resulted in the formation of the unwritten English constitution. In this respect, impeachment was one of the tools used by the English parliament to create more responsive and responsible government to redress imbalances when they occurred. In the United States of America, the Constitution of the U.S. gives the House of Representatives the sole power to impeach an official, and it makes the Senate the sole court for impeachment trials. The power of impeachment is limited to removal from office, but also provides a means by which a removed officer may be disqualified from holding future office. The House of Representatives brings impeachment charges against federal officials as a part of its oversight and investigatory responsibilities. Individual members of the House can introduce impeachment resolutions like ordinary bills, or the House could initiate proceedings by passing a resolution authorizing an inquiry. The Committee on the Judiciary ordinarily has the jurisdiction over impeachments. The committee then chooses whether to pursue articles of impeachment against the accused official and report them to the full House. If the articles are adopted by a simple majority vote, the House appoints members by resolution to manage the ensuing Senate trial on its behalf. These managers act as prosecutors in the Senate and are usually members of the Judiciary Committee. The Senate procession of the Speaker has entered the chamber, and any minute from now, the Senate will begin its sitting for today, and the Speaker, 𝐆𝐻𝐿 will be the presiding Speaker for today's morning sittings, and we'll add you over to the plenary for these morning proceedings. Welcome.
Pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with abundant favor and blessings us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The Senate quorum bell is being rung for Senate to achieve its quorum before they begin the session for today. And on today's sitting, the governor has already entered the chamber, and
She's ready to present a case today, together with the rebuttals,
the cross-examinations that will be coming from the county assembly. Yesterday, the county assembly presented its evidence to the Senate, and the county assembly had 4 witnesses. The key witness was the move of the motion to impeach the governor, and that was Honorable Kawira, the MCA for Metongo Ward in Meru County. And the senators sought certain clarifications from the MCA, who was the star witness of that of the county assembly case, on issues of the nexus of the allegations of the misuse of public resources, abuse of office, issues of contempt of court, vilifying and bullying of other public leaders, and issues of bringing the county into this dispute. And there was that nexus that was being sought by the House on whether the governor was directly linked to the occurrences that the county assembly presented to the Senate. The county assembly also presented the evidence indicating that through their witnesses that there were irreconcilable differences between the 2 arms of the county government, that is the county executive as well as the county assembly. And there were also issues to do with the visit to China by a technical team from the county executive. And there were issues on whether the people went to that visit of China to inspect some medical instruments or laboratory instruments, whether they were duly qualified to do that kind of inspection. And there are also issues to do with the violence that was witnessed in some parts of Meru during some exercises of 𝐊𝐀𝐄𝐒. And there are also issues to do with whether the 𝐊𝐀𝐄𝐒 program uses public resources from the county government of Meru to run that private entity. And there are issues of whether the proceedings before the Senate are instigated by other powers that are outside the county assembly, and those issues were responded well to by the county assembly during their presentation and of their case yesterday. Just as we had indicated earlier, we were on the historical background of the impeachment process, and we can see there is quite a number of the MCAs from Meru County Assembly seated in the Speaker's Gallery today, and they are following the proceedings of the House. And just a reminder, yesterday there was a witness by the name Honorable Rindikiri, who is the member for Parliament of Bori constituency, and is the chairperson of the Meru caucus for MPs. Indeed present his evidence before the Senate yesterday, saying that there were issues of name calling in Meru County, and the issues of whether there were cartels and whether that term was referring to them was an issue that was raised in the Senate, and whether there was a nexus between that name calling and the members of parliament from Meru County. And this happened, the name calling was said to have happened when there was a prayer rally in Meru County, specifically at 𝐊𝐀𝐄𝐿, that was presided over by and attended over by the President as well as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. The legal team of the governor is already in place. And I can see we have Elias Mutuma, who is a distinguished legal practitioner, as well as Elisha. They are already in the Senate chambers ready to present their case. Just as we continue on the impeachment process in Nigeria, the impeachment process happens under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The procedures for impeachment of the President of Nigeria and the state governors are basically the same, except that involvement of bicameral legislature in the impeachment of the President and a unicameral legislature in the impeachment of governors. You can see there is Reverend Kiogora, who is a distinguished man of the clergy from Meru County, is also in the chamber. And under the Constitution of Nigeria, that procedure for impeachment is provided for under articles under sections 143 and 186 of the Constitution. And unlike the American procedure, the impeachment procedure under the Nigerian Constitution is not initiated in the House of Representatives, but by a notice of allegation signed by at least 1/3 of the members of the National Assembly in both chambers of the National Assembly involved in considering the notice of allegation and in resolving by motion supported by 2/3 of its members whether to investigate the allegation or not. A distinguished feature in the procedure under the Nigerian Constitution is the provision for an independent panel set up by the Chief Justice or the Chief Judge to investigate the allegations made against the office order. Thus, unlike the procedure under the American Constitution, where the entire process is carried out by the legislature, from inception to conclusion, the procedure under the Nigerian Constitution precludes the judiciary from conducting investigations into allegations leveled by it against officer order. However, the Nigerian National Assembly must still resolve by motion supported by a 2/3 majority of members to adopt or reject the report of the panel of investigations. You can see senators have begun to stream into the House in readiness for today's proceedings. And once the quorum is achieved, we shall hand it over to the plenary to continue the proceedings. You can see there is Senator Medu, the senator for Nyandarua, is already in the House. And Senator Wafula is also in the House, ready for these today's proceedings. There is also Senator Ososi, the Vihiga senator. Believe we have achieved quorum. We hand over now to the plenary.
10 minutes.
Quorum bell is still being rung. We'll just continue. You can see the Senate Speaker, Deputy Speaker Kaduri Murungi, who is also the Senator for Meru County, has entered the chamber. And yesterday, there was the clips that were being played by the County Assembly. There was a mention of 𝐊𝐀𝐄𝐒 oversight, and there is that hat that he wears, a traditional act that came, maybe was mentioned in that House proceedings yesterday. And under the impeachment process and procedure in Kenya, the Senate is established pursuant to provisions of Article 93(1) of the Constitution of Kenya, Article 96 therefore provides that the Senate represent the counties and it serves to protect the interest of counties and their governments. And under this rule, the Senate exercises an oversight mandate over the counties. And one such mechanism of oversight is the removal from office by impeachment. You can see senators are still streaming into the chamber. There is Senator Karungo. The miracle senator is in the house. And quite a number of senators are still streaming in. We shall hand you over once we achieve that quorum. Still under the impeachment process and procedure in Kenya, the procedure and the grounds for the removal of governor from office is provided for under the provisions of Article 181 of the Constitution, as read with Section 33 of the County Government Act, and the Senate standing orders. And the relevant, there is the senator for Meru, Senator Kawira Mwangaza, and is among the leaders that the County Assembly yesterday alleged that the governor of Meru has been vilifying and bullying, and those charges were presented by the County Assembly yesterday, and they presented the evidence on the same. And the Senate will make a determination on whether the evidence that was provided by the County Assembly is sufficient. Still under the procedure for impeachment under our Constitution and statute, Section 33 of the County Government Act provides for that procedure, while Article 181 of the Constitution provides the constitutional basis for removal from office. You can see the legal team of the county governor for Meru, led by Elisha Ongoya, as well as Elias Mutuma, conversing with the governor and amongst themselves in readiness for today's proceedings. Under Article 181 of the Constitution, the provision, it lays the ground for the constitutional basis for impeachment, and among the provisions of that article is that a county governor may be removed from office on any of the following grounds, among them gross violation of the Constitution or any other law, where there are serious reasons for believing that the county governor has committed a crime under national or international law, abuse of office or gross misconduct, physical or mental incapacity to perform the functions of the office of the governor. And then there is the legislation, the statute that has been provided for and enacted by Parliament to give effect to this Article 181 of the Constitution. You can see Senator Betemaina has entered the chamber. There is also Senator Hilary Wakili, is also in the house. And Section 33 of the County Government Act, it provides, there is also the leader of majority, Senator Aaron Cheriot, the distinguished senator for Kericho County, is also in the chamber, in readiness for today's proceedings. Under Section 33 of the County Government Act, a member of the County Assembly may be, by a notice to the Speaker, supported by at least a third of all the members, move a motion for the removal of the governor, and that motion is the one that is now before the Senate, that it passed all the legal threshold under that act, and now it is under the consideration by the Parliament. I can see Senator Catherine Muma, who is a distinguished legal mind and scholar, has also entered the chamber. And as we have already indicated under the procedure for impeachment of a governor, during the Senate's consideration of a report of the proposed removal from office of the governor of Kericho, the quorum bell has stopped ringing. Yeah. We hand over to plenary, see if there is quorum.
Leader.
Mr. Speaker, sorry to disrupt proceedings, but at the rise of the House yesterday, you gave a very important communication, something which I strongly feel goes to the heart of the exercise that you are carrying out the last 2 days, a very important exercise that this House is undergoing. And you gave a very important communication on conduct and becoming on the part of certain people I'd refer to as state officers. So I wanted to request, Mr. Speaker, that we beg your indulgence, you allow us at least a few minutes to react to that communication, because there are senators here who have been mentioned, and of course people are wondering whether there are other forces that are guiding us as we undergo this business. Therefore, it will be unfair. I felt that yesterday might have been the time to speak to it, Mr. Speaker, but given that it was very late at night, going almost to 1 a.m. in the morning, I wanted to request if you could allow us, Mr. Speaker, to register our dissatisfaction, particularly those that have been mentioned and us as a House.
Very well, Majority Leader. You will allow the clerk to read the first order, and then I will allow just 3 senators from each side speaking for 2 minutes each, and then we go straight to the business of the day. Clerk, proceed, please.
Order number 1, communication from the chair.
I will allow comments on the communication that I did at the rise of the House last night. And I'll take 3 senators from each side, each speaking for 2 minutes. The Majority Leader, kindly take the floor.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Senate, I want to register my disappointment in the increasingly unbecoming conduct of Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, a man who's continually embarrassing the appointing authority and casting serious doubts on the choice ability of none other than His Excellency, the President. Mr. Speaker, sir, that tweet was in bad taste. It paints senators as cheap people who have no cognitive abilities to make interpretation of the matters that are before us and make a sober decision that is in the interest of the Constitution and the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this is the 14th impeachment hearing that the Senate is hearing, and I've had opportunity to vote in almost all of them. I take great exception in the conduct of Moses Kuria, in the tweet that he sent out, and the things that he said about this House and the colleagues that he's listed. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I now agree with members of this House who have brought censure motion before to discuss the conduct of this particular minister, because at every given opportunity, he has done nothing other than embarrass the appointing authority. In fact, it is my submission, Mr. Speaker, that the earlier CS Moses Kuria is let off his duty, the better for this administration, Mr. Speaker. Because every single day, in every action that he undertakes, he continues to embarrass the president and the people. No wonder the people of Kiambu resoundingly rejected his bid to be their governor, Mr. Speaker. It's because of this kind of habit, the kind of things that he says, how he goes about his duties, Mr. Speaker, and overall, his conduct as a human being. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, let Mr. Kawira know, wherever he is, that senators cannot be intimidated, that the kind of monkey business he's trying to introduce cannot be allowed to stand, Mr. Speaker, because this is a distraction.
Senator Kojong.
Mr. Speaker, first allow me to congratulate you for your resilience. The communication being referred to was made at exactly midnight, and that is a sign of the commitment of this House. Mr. Speaker, you are a bit lenient in your communication. I don't think that such conduct should just be reprimanded and left at that. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge you that this particular cabinet secretary who uses social media to disparage the House, to refer to matters before the House, to speak of the House in a manner that is extremely demeaning, that this particular person be summoned to appear before the House and to be summoned to substantiate those claims that he has made. Because, Mr. Speaker, those kind of utterances have got the effect of belittling this House and taking away any credibility this House would have in future impeachment. Mr. Speaker, the many impeachments that we have processed in this House, if the conduct of CS Moses Kuria was to be considered, his conduct falls within the threshold of impeachment. If he was a governor, and if he was brought to this House, he would definitely be impeached. And Mr. Speaker, I want to urge the members of the other House, because they're the ones who have the responsibility of censuring and sending home cabinet secretaries, to take serious judicial notice of the conduct of this particular cabinet secretary, and this House, through the relevant committee, can come up with resolutions that can then be used to move the other House to discuss his conduct and to have him censured. And I hope that Senator Cheruiyot, because you've got the ear of the president who's the appointing authority, let us not just complain in this House. Go and tell the boss that this guy is an embarrassment, not just to the government, but to the Republic of Kenya. He is an embarrassment to the entire East Africa. The deals he has done has made Kenya look like a pariah when it comes to issues of supply chain of oil and edible oil. Mr. Speaker, this man must go. We must pronounce ourselves.
Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity also to give my comment on this irritating behavior of the CS for public service. Honorable Speaker, the process going on in this House is very, very important for the people of Meru who are representing this House, Mr. Speaker. And when I see as just a log CS gets out there to make some very funny comments on social media, it is very, very embarrassing, and he is not serving, or whatever he is doing is not for the best interests of the Meru people. And I want to warn him that they should keep off Meru affairs, let them concentrate with the work that he has been given by the president. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I will request actually on this matter, the other majority leader on the other house, to actually start processing an impeachment motion to this CS. And Honorable Speaker, on this matter, as Honorable Kajanga has put it, after this process is done, I would request that Moses Kuria is called back to this House, is brought before us so that we can discipline him. Otherwise, he is an embarrassment to the people who voted for the Kenya Kwanza government. And he should be relieved of his duties immediately. So the president should take notice what this House has, the comments you are giving us this House, Mr. Speaker. And I want from now henceforth, let Moses Kuria give us peace as a Meru community. We don't want his support. We know what we want, and we know what best we can do, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, I am happy that we have come full circle, because this is something that I have said on many stages, that in fact Moses Kuria is an incorrigible national shame. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that I ask myself is just how much embarrassment does the president have capacity to endure? And I can assure you that if nothing is done about Moses Kuria, there is more embarrassment coming. That one I can guarantee. Mr. Speaker, what is most hurtful is that even after your communication, the CS who ordinarily should be asleep thinking about how he's going to make the lives of Kenyans better had the audacity to fire off another tweet on material that was presented before this House. Mr. Speaker, what I want us to do, honestly speaking, action must be taken. I am actually made aware by the members of this House who represent us in the PSC that Moses Kuria ran away with money belonging to Parliament. He should actually be brought to answer questions about those things and removed from his position, because for me, really, there's nothing that brings me greater joy than being proven right about the things that I've said about this administration. And I just want the majority leader, please, about this administration, because as you have said yourself, it casts very serious doubt on the capacity of the appointing authority. How much embarrassment can the president take? It's just one man, Mr. Speaker. So what we want to do, as they said, there's a famous poem by Martin Niemöller. First, he came for the media. And when I brought a motion of censure for the media, some of you were saying, oh, Sifuna is in the habit of attacking this government. Now he has come for the Senate. Do something. Do something about this national shame, because it will continue unabated. That is who Moses Kuria is. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also like to weigh on this important matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is time that we as a country would stand up and be counted with one voice and tell the president that he should not be held hostage by some of these log ministers he has appointed to the government. Mr. Speaker, sir, at this time when Kenyans are suffering from high cost of living, the least that we need are these ministers who cannot even pronounce them to the policy direction, but instead they take it to the tweet and the media to actually abuse and belittle this House. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do join ranks with my colleagues. It is the high time we tell the president he must put the House in order. Some of these cabinet secretaries, Mr. Speaker, they are a big shame to the nation. The only thing that they can do, Mr. Speaker, when we complain of high cost of living, they tell us to go and dig our wells to produce our oil. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is unacceptable. And I would want to put it in no unmistakable terms. Central region is no shortage of intelligent people who are capable of learning the docket that Kuria is learning, and he should be shown the door as early as today, Mr. Speaker. We have the power, Mr. Speaker, to tell the president that indeed such a CS like Moses Kuria should be fired, if not yesterday, today in the morning, Mr. Speaker. It is a great shame to this House and to the nation indeed that someone at the middle of the night, instead of addressing the pertinent issues that are confronting Kenyans, he would take with a cup of, Mr. Speaker, sir, he should be fired.
Senator Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this important matter. Mr. Speaker, I just want to